Loan originators, it's very important for you to understand that you work for you, LLC. You are a division of whatever company you work for. But ultimately, it's your business. You are the entrepreneur. So today's discussion is going to be about the 5 ways that you can and should be investing in your business. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children 18 plus. You are tuned in to the Loan Officer Podcast with me, Dustin Owen, and my main man,
JC.
John Coleman.
Yo, what's poppin'?
3 things, JC. 3 things are popping. First and foremost, shout out to our friends out at Housing Wire.
Mm-hmm.
So we are now in fall.
Oh, shit.
It's my first opportunity to put on a hoodie. And I grabbed this out of the closet and I was like, oh, where have you been, my friend? It is so comfy. So that's Clayton and Diego and James. And literally I could keep going and going. The whole crew over at Housing Wire. Thank you so much. I love representing y'all's gear. And I love reading your daily publication. If you're a housing professional, a real estate professional, a mortgage professional, you too should be tuning into Housing Wire. And you know what? They didn't even pay me to say that, at least not yet.
One day I'll get paid for that intro, that JC shit. One day.
One day you will?
Trademark it, maybe.
Yeah,
not.
You and Buffer?
Damn, I should be. I know. If I just knew then what I knew now.
Yeah.
I just would have coined a phrase.
All right. Well, I told you 3 things. Second thing, we said what's popping? I said 3 things
yeah,
are popping.
What's the second thing, Dustin?
This freaking Band-Aid is still on my nose because you told me I could be Nelly 2.0.
No.
You told me that.
You datified yourself.
Those were your words.
Go Knights.
Charge on. Those were your words, John. Which, by the way, we didn't even talk about. Now it's way past that freaking epic win.
What was that?
UCF came back down 21 to TCU, won the damn game. That right there, season-defining win.
Gus Malzahn.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm talking about. It's freaking this thing removed from my nose that's still healing that requires me to put a Band-Aid on.
Because we do 2 episodes at the same time.
Hush, John, we don't.
Back to back.
We
That's why I
don't.
wear the same shit every episode.
There used to be a time, John, that we would record on Monday, drop on Tuesday, record on Thursday, dropped on Friday. Then what happened?
Life happened, Dustin.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, my wife has been encouraging me that I should get my nose pierced. A little diamond stud right here. She said I look good with it. I actually could not. I could see it. I'm like, yeah, I probably would. And
do you have any interest in being pierced?
I don't, but I could see that really like taking my swag to a whole nother fucking
You think
dimension.
you're like Ricky Williams?
No,
or Alvin Kamara Jr.?
No, I'm not going to get the bull ring.
Okay.
I'm not going to get like a 12 gauge and expand my ears, but I was thinking about a nice little diamond stud right here, but I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, look, you do you, homie.
So
thing
that's
I tell my kid.
the answer, no, which makes me want to invest in it more. But just my only thing is I'd get it, but I'd have a hole in my face.
Look,
for the rest of my life.
this is JC 2.0. This dude told me that he ran 4 miles this morning. Yeah. You're reading books.
Yesterday,
you're working out. Like,
well, that actually kind of dovetails nicely into like the topic of today's subject, which is like investing in your business, which I have multiple things to add to the conversation.
Okay, you ready to jump into this, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But hold on, was that the third thing? I interrupted you because I said I want to get my nose pierced.
No, I like listening to you talk. The people love to listen to you.
They don't give a shit.
They
should
do.
Should I get it pierced? What do you think?
Do you know how many trolls I get when they're like, you don't let your guests talk?
This is the perfect dynamic dichotomy we have because I don't want to talk and I don't want to help people, and all you do is want to talk and help people.
Really, what really happened is that this is the second episode in a row that we're recording today, and his bong swap is starting to wear off. So you're seeing JC less medicated.
I know,
usually
focused.
It's that's what I tell people. I said, look, he wanted to talk, but somehow his tongue and his lips wouldn't move because he self-medicates.
Well, you won't
in the car.
You won't let me self-medicate while we record. You won't let me drink. Usually it's too early, so I'm trying to do the best I can.
I mean, I can't say anyone lets you do anything.
That's very true.
You do you.
Yeah, my wife tries. You can try to contain the beast, but no.
Yeah. The third thing was this. Are you ever going to, like, so we had amazing music, intro music, for the longest time. And then supposedly
Copyright.
the police, the copyright police reached out to us and they're like, you can't use that anymore. But now you got some shit that people are like,
UFO. When people describe it, I'm like, that's exactly what I was going for. And no, I'm not going to change it.
Okay, well, that is the question. We wanted something more upbeat. We wanted something as if like Jermaine Dupri. Like that's what we want. A little JD out of ATL 1997.
Do you know how much time these things like should, when you talk about time investment and how much energy you should give to things like intro music on a podcast or the colors or the logo? Do you know how much time I spend on these things?
I mean,
7 minutes, Dustin. I spend more time packing my bowl and smoking it than I do.
I'm with the people when I'm like, this shit sounds like it's like Blair Witch Project.
Sci-fi mixed with what the hell is going on, mixed with like murder mystery. But that matches the intro because when you address the people, you're like, hey, I'm talking to you right now. Serious shit. I'm addressing the camera. Buckle up, people. You're about to learn something.
And then I dive into the full energy, ladies and gentlemen. And
well, you like that? Well, you see the YouTube revenue creeping up.
Yeah, you can keep that $60 a week.
I wonder how people live off that shit.
On that, let's get into today's show. Okay, this came up on a coaching call just 2 days ago. And just 2 days ago, it was talking about investing in your business. And I was like, okay, y'all ready for this? And I had to like ask permission because I told people straight up, hey, I'm going to be raw. I'm going to be real. And I'm going to come at you, not you individually, but you as the group, because I'm passionate about this shit. Because I came from nothing. I built something I'm pretty proud of. I've made phenomenal money over the course of the past 20 years in this industry. So I feel like I speak with relevance, but I also speak from experience. Okay. And I've seen plenty of people come into this industry, crash and burn. In fact, I know more people that crash and burn, but really I don't know them, John.
You just know of them.
Yeah, I know of them. If you said, do you remember so-and-so? I'd be like, oh yeah. But no, I've already forgotten about them because they crashed and burned.
Out.
But no difference. I know of more people that have crashed and burned than I do that are like, highly successful. But I can learn and teach from both the crash and burn and the highly successful. So when you're looking to invest in your business, you are the product when you're in sales. Okay. You are the reason people are going to do business with your company or not do business with your company. You are the reason why someone's going to refer you or refer, someone else. So you need to be investing in you. Period. End of story. If you are a newly licensed originator or you're thinking about becoming licensed, I'm going to tell you this straight up. $5,000. You need $5,000 to launch your career in the mortgage business. If you don't have $5,000, don't do it. Don't do it unless you're rare and you're like, well, I found a company that has this best-in-class phenomenal training, and basically your company is going to drop the $5,000 on the material that you need. But most of us, we don't have that. So what do I mean by that? If you're newly licensed or you're thinking about getting licensed, the $5,000 is basically spent this way. You're going to spend about $500 getting licensed. Okay, that's the 20-hour course, that's study material, and then getting your license. Then you're going to need $1,600 to $1,800 to freaking learn technically foundational blocking and tackling. I promote Ground School by Zenix. I'm sure there's other ways that you can learn blocking and tackling, but that's mine. So that I put that $1,800 in that mix. You then need professional coaching, business coaching, sales training. And you can buy hours right now for the entire year. It's $2,500. Okay. There's nothing that offers more value than what we're doing. tloponline.com. It's the MLL coaching community. Like that's the jam right now. There's nothing better for that investment. So the $2,500 plus the $500. So $2,500 to pay for an entire year of our business coaching and our sales training. $500 is what it cost you to get your license. And then $1,800 is what it cost you to go through Zenix. You had $200 left over. That's $200 that you can use on essentially
drugs and alcohol.
No, possibly. I'm thinking more coffee. Right? I'm thinking more coffee.
Okay, right.
Okay, so that's like 20 coffee appointments.
Yeah.
You could do 10 coffee appointments 1 month, 10 coffee appointments the next month. And you could legitimately have had 20 one-on-ones with long-term referral sources. And that was your $5,000. That got you started. But to me, the first investment you can make is in professional development. That is in business coaching and sales training.
There you
go. All right. You said you're going to ask me some tough questions.
Yeah. Oh, that was it? Okay, there's my LinkedIn clip. So that was my timestamp. For me, can you rephrase the term invest in your business? Is there like a more common sense man way to say that rather than invest in your business? Because when I hear that, it just kind of glosses me over as something that Gary Vaynerchuk would say on stage. Can you break it down and be like, all right, when I say invest in your business, I'm like, what I'm really saying is give a shit about what you're doing. What I'm really saying is this.
Yeah, when I say invest in your business, two ways to invest, either your time or your money, and typically it's both. Okay, so you want to choose a better word. Become more intentional with creating the business you desire. You can say give a shit. Like, yeah, give a shit. Do you not give a shit? Like, this is not a job. This is not, job is like what my 19-year-old does. He shows up, whether it's at Dick's Sporting Goods, Chick-fil-A, the local gym, or the local law office that has him doing some clerical work. Mm-hmm. And he is performing a task at good to above average and collecting a paycheck and going home. That's a job. Okay, we're talking about a business, a career, someone's livelihood. Yeah, you have to give a damn, you have to give a shit, and you have to create the opportunities that you want. So invest to me is you're either spending money or spending time, and typically both. So with coaching, you're investing money and your time, but then you have to go execute. So it's money to learn, it's your time to be present and to take notes and to listen. And then you have to go and actually do what these top producers that coach for us are telling you to do, not because they read it in a book, because they freaking did it themselves. And their W-2 show them making $200, $600, $1 million a year. And they're also teaching you, hey, this is what they're doing currently to stay on top. Again, not because they watched it in a YouTube video, because like, no, because I run a freaking team, because I run a branch, because I am a top producer. These are the things that are working.
So most loan officers, when they start, like they pay to get their little plaque, their little license. And then like, what is their mindset after that? They just think like leads will start just flowing in and they'll just start making money like by day 3.
It is. I used this word on the last episode, a smorgasbord of emotions. They're lost. They're scared. I don't know what they're thinking. Like, I honestly don't think, but like so many times they're paralyzed. This whole analysis by paralysis or paralysis by analysis. Mm-hmm. They don't know what to do. So they do nothing, which is the worst thing you can do. Like on the Mortgage Mafia, if you're a licensed originator and you're full-time, I have a private Facebook group that I started like 6 months ago. It's really taken off. We're almost at over 1,000 members, and it's called Mortgage Mafia. But if you're not full-time and you're not licensed, I will not let you in. It's a private group. All right. But this question came up. I posted something, some like infographic, some motivational quote. And a guy was like, well, the thing that's holding me back from making sales calls to realtors is I don't want to burn a relationship by making a mistake. I'm like, well, I asked him what market he's in. It's a big market. I'm like, look, there's over 10,000 realtors in that market. You can afford to burn a relationship because you made a mistake. What you can't afford to do is not make mistakes. Because if you're not making mistakes, you're not trying. If you're not making mistakes, you're not putting yourself out there. So we only learn by making mistakes. We only learn when things don't go our way. So unfortunately for him, he has to put himself out there to make mistakes, knowing that he's going to jeopardize burning a relationship. Now, what I could tell him is most times relationships are actually won when mistakes are made, and it's how you handle yourself and you handle the situation. That's when a good realtor knows they have a good lender. Like if they judged it just based on everything going the way it's supposed to go, then that can't really tell me someone's true character.
What do you say is more important if you're a younger in your career loan originator, since, time versus investing money? I can invest time by going to open houses and like meeting with realtors and, going to various learning opportunity things, or with money, I can get more education. I could get more coaching.
So I think I love where you're going with that, because it doesn't always have to be money. Like I just said, I gave an example of $5,000, but you're right. If you don't have the money, then you need to hurry up and go make as many mistakes as you can. You do that by outworking everyone else and not being shy and putting yourself in those situations where you can ask a lot of questions. You can be asked a lot of questions. You can be given objections. You can go home and find ways to overcome those objections with good rebuttals. And next time you're better prepared. Rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. And I think we call that the school of hard knocks. So there is something to be said about the school of hard knocks. But I also love the people that are like, look, I can try to spend 2 years to try to figure it out, or I could drop $5,000 and learn from someone who already has. Is it not worth $5,000 for me to shave 2 years off of my learning curve and guarantee that I get the right answers? There's no guarantee that if I learn from the school of hard knocks that I'm going to come up with the right answers. There's also no guarantee that I'm going to be able to last all 2 years that's going to take me of struggling. But you do make a good point. It is time and money. So if you're limited on your money, then you need to be focusing your time. There's a lot of free events going on. Like our YouTube channel, it's free. This podcast, it's free. Our newsletter, it's free. There's a lot of free events in your local market, whether it's put on by the Mortgage Brokers Association, AIM, FAMP, etc., or there's luncheons that maybe cost you $30, but hey, you had to eat that day anyhow. And you can go to an MBA function in your local market and you can learn from others. Calling up a top producer in your market and willing to buy him or her a drink after work or coffee in the morning. Like, it's not free, but it's not that expensive in order for you to put yourself in a room with others that are doing really well. So
have you found yourself like, there's two different like schools of newer loan originators. There's ones that be like, how much does it cost? Sign me up. I'll do it. Whatever it needs, whatever it takes to be successful. And the other ones, like the tire kickers, like, What's the percentage? Like, have you found that like out of those two sample sizes, the people that are willing to invest like off rip are usually the ones that will succeed rather than like the people that like.
Yes. Like, that's a no-brainer. Talk to anyone who's coached students, let's just call them pro bono, or students that have skin in the game. The students who have skin in the game, they freaking want it. That's why they're able to spend money that sometimes they didn't have because they want it. So there's a certain amount of drive and a certain amount of like, hold my beer, watch this mentality with them, that they are the best students because they take notes and then they implement what you taught them. Those that, they're on the call because the company provides it and my branch manager wanted me on it. Dude, they have multiple screens and they're setting their fantasy football lineup while a subject matter expert is teaching everything that he or she has done to become successful. So yes, 100% there's a direct correlation. It's why like I look up to what the core did for 20 plus years. But the core, I found this interesting when we start studying business models. They would only let you in once you've already made $250,000. Well, it takes a certain type of person who can make $250,000 in commission in real estate or in mortgage. Typically that person has high aptitude and high drive and probably a little bit of talent and a skill set. So yes, they help those people go from making $250,000 a year to $1 million a year, but they knew what they were doing and they only sought a certain type of business professional that they could charge a lot of money to and give big results to. On our end, I noticed with our TLOP MLO coaching community that there's a certain price point that if you can't pay $250 a month, we probably don't want you. You're probably not ready for us. And we think $250 a month is cheap. Like, we're giving this thing away. It's already been valued at $500 a month. And so there's a definite correlation. So anyhow, the first way is investing in yourself. Coaching, conferences, that's something else that we all can do is attend 1 or 2 conferences a year. I prefer 2. If your company provides one, go to that one. And then you should choose at least one outside of what your company provides and attend so that you can put yourself in rooms with people who do what you do for a living. Y'all can network, synergize, share best practices, laugh about war stories or horror stories or things that didn't go the way you wanted. But more importantly, come back with 1 or 2 good ideas that you plan on implementing. So the first one is truly, I know you hate this because you told me I sound like Gary Vee, which that's a compliment to me. But you said that, and like, I'm going to tell you, invest in you because you are it. And by the way, my last comment on investing in you, that investment will last you forever. A buddy of mine, shout out to Steven, just sold his roofing company. I don't know for how much, but I know this. I know they were the biggest roofing company in our market. I know that he had over 100 employees at one time. I'm pretty confident it was for millions. Okay, that's what I'm confident. I don't know the numbers. He didn't tell me. I didn't ask. But I also know where he lives and how much he paid to build his house. Right. So like, I'm just gonna kind of put two and two together here, guys. But here's what's something really cool. I coached Steven 12 years ago when he was a rookie loan originator. Now his career in mortgage only lasted 3-4 years. He did it 3 or 4 years. He was successful. He was making money, just didn't love it. So he went on and did some other things, helped his father run a CPA firm, opened up a couple of businesses. But you know what he shared with me over beers a couple of weeks ago? It was that LO launch course that he went through, that he goes, I still used those principles when I was selling roofing, when I was building a sales team for my roofing company.
Right.
You know, so it's like when you invest in yourself, that's for you. That's forever. You reading a book is investing in yourself, right? That doesn't take you anything but time, right? And maybe some late fees at the public library.
Right.
So, you know, just know that there's so much value, and that's why it's number one. It's why we spent the most time. Now I'm going to go through and give you 3 other ways that you can invest in yourself.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
You ready for this?
I think.
All right. The easy way is ads. You can buy leads. Like you can legitimately, and not enough people do this in the mortgage space. Not enough people do it. And like, I'm going to give a shout out to friends of mine. They're now at CMG. So shout out to everyone over at CMG, which at one point was Homebridge, which I think at one point was Prospect. Maybe it was once called Rimmon. I don't know. Kind of, it's all jumbling together. But nonetheless, they're now at CMG. And I remember meeting them and I was like, holy cow. You run a mortgage branch that's pretty similar to my mortgage branch. You're dropping $40,000 to $50,000 a month in advertising, co-branded marketing with realtors in their local market. But then I got to see their P&L. I'm like, but you're making money and your LOs are making money. And then I started talking to their LOs and their LOs are happy and their processors are happy and their loan partners are happy. Everyone's happy. And it was just a good reminder to me that there's multiple ways to run a branch in the mortgage business or to operate really any business. And I think too few times do we as originators look at spending money strategically as a way to invest in our business. As long as there's an ROI, I mean, I look at what we're doing at TLOP and we're getting ready to enter into a partnership with Spiral Monkey, which is a local marketing agency. And I told Mike over at Spiral Monkey, I said, look, Mike, I'll spend $100,000 a month if it returns $500,000 a month. Like, it's not about me spending $100,000. It's about that ROI. So I think that we all should be looking at where can we invest in lead generation. And there's multiple ways you can do it, right? Like you can call our boy Mike McAllister.
Shut up, Mike.
Yep. And Mike's over at Empower LO, right? Or you could reach out to Luke at Loans on Demand, or you could enter into some kind of a MSA with a particular real estate agency. I mean, I can't wait to do this. This is one of the things that attracted me most to Lower is I want to take to all of my branch managers and their loan officers. I want to be able to take their past client database, their realtor database, and their prospects. I want to be able to upload them into Facebook, into Instagram, which is the same thing, it's Meta, and then run targeted ads at just their people, not targeted ads at strangers. No, these are people who are already in our ecosystem. They already know, like, and trust us, but I should be running some kind of an ad to them because I want to increase the number of referrals that realtor is sending me. I want to increase the opportunities that client's going to come back to me for their next mortgage. I want to increase my odds that my past client's going to refer me their friends and family, right? These are things that we can do on a very small ad spend that would have an ROI. And I'm sure if I'm running a branch, I don't care if I'm spending $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, as long as I'm getting back in return $25,000 to $50,000. So I think too few times as originators, we don't think like business operators. We think like somebody who has a JOB. And when you have a JOB, you're not going to spend a dime on your business. You're not going to invest in ads, advertising, buying leads. What? So no, I think that's an opportunity that too few times, and yours truly was included in this, overlooked it. I wasn't
buying leads are beneath me, Dustin.
I mean, you don't have to buy leads, but you can boost post, right? I mean, there's certain things that you can do that you advertise in order to get some ROI, right? But it's not going to come easy. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take work. You're going to have to learn as you grow. You're going to have to, just like you and I did with the podcast, commit to 2 years. Come up with a budget, figure out what your ROI needs to be, figure out, is that ROI even like making sense? And then find someone to help you deploy it, a company typically, and then commit 6, 12, 18, 24 months. I would tell you 24 months. You can make tweaks and adjustments as needed, but commit to that strategy for 24 months. So that would be, a second way you can invest in your business. Any other smart-ass comments or questions from the peanut gallery?
Yeah. It sounds like loan officers that aren't successful just have a broke man's mentality and don't want to spend no money.
At the end of the day, if you ask me what keeps a 100% commission salesperson from having success,
yes.
So I'm taking loan officer out of this equation. Take that out of your mouth, John.
With the joint, I have nothing in my mouth. I have nothing in my mouth.
Keep those words out of your mouth, John.
All right.
No, but because this applies to a lot of different professions.
All right.
Life insurance, sales, financial advisor, real estate, mortgage, etc. Mm-hmm. Yes, where they fail is in the mindset. It's in the mental game. It's not treating themselves as business operators, as entrepreneurs, which that's what we are. That is what we are. So that we're not treating our business like a business. We're not investing in ourselves because we are the business. We are the product. That's why we have to invest in ourselves. And then we have to also invest in where we spend our money to lead generate. Now, I talked about doing some advertising, doing some lead generating, etc. But like spending money could be budgeting $200 a month for things like coffees and lunches, $250 a quarter for a lunch and learn or a happy hour, $500 at the end of the year for something that I do to send out to all of my past clients, a token of appreciation, right? There's a certain dollar amount that we need to be spending. On top of that, there's technologies that we use that separate us from good to great, from average to good. Okay, I think with these technologies, I would tell you first, man, figure out how to close 3 loans a month. Like if I had to prioritize, there's certain things where I'm like, look, I'm going to talk about things that I love and as a top producer, I used. But many of you have to figure out how first to generate your 20 to 30 leads a month, how to close your 3 or 4 loans a month. Once you're doing that consistently, then you build upon that. Mm-hmm. You don't necessarily walk in and start dropping 10 grand a month on ad spend. Okay. You may first want to say traditionally, how do I work open houses? How do I go to networking events? How do I socially sell, online network in order to meet with 60 to 100 potential referral sources, generate leads that way, start closing 3 and 4 loans a month. Then I want to build upon that. I want to get better. I want to diversify, right? No different than like someone's not going to go into their personal investment portfolio and all of a sudden start buying crypto and flipping houses. At least you shouldn't. It's like, no. First, let's get you 6 months reserve. Then let's make sure all your credit cards are paid off. Now let's get you investing in either your 401k or an IRA or maybe even both. Mm-hmm. Now let's make sure you have the essential, at least term life insurance if you're married and you own a home and you have children. Then it's like, okay, if you're doing all of that and you have money left over, sure, let's talk about buying real estate as an investment, or let's talk about investing in crypto. Okay, same thing applies when you're running your business like a business. You're not going to come out of the gates necessarily just guns a-blazing. No, everything is a paint by numbers, step-by-step process. First, you learn to crawl, then you learn to walk, then you learn to run, then finally you learn to race.
Then you run marathons like Dustin.
Yeah, then I do.
So
yeah, but let me get. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Question. Then I'll circle back.
No, you go.
No, so then what I was going to say is that investing in your business is also paying for all the technologies you need to separate yourself from the competition. Like on the front end, it's a CRM. Shout out to ADM.
Shout out ADM.
It's utilizing a technology like Dave Savage has over at Mortgage Coach. Okay. It's in the middle. It's understanding what moves the interest rate market. It's subscribing to something like MBS Highway or MBS Live or one of the other various platforms that we as originators can use to understand what's going on in the housing industry, what's going on in the market, et cetera. Right? It's also then having something on the back end that you can use to manage your relationships with your past closed clients. That's when I talk about things like HomeBot. And HomeBot's, again, not the end all be all, but it's just a product that I like a lot. But I wouldn't put any one of those three ahead of me learning the industry technically, i.e. Zenix Ground School, me having a business coach or a sales trainer. I wouldn't put any of that above me having a couple $100 a month earmarked to take people to coffee or to meet up for drinks after work. That, to me, in preference, before I have the badass CRM, I first need leads, right? Before I start doing TCAs, I need leads. Before I have something like HomeBot, I need past clients to put them in. Before I really need to understand the MBS market, I probably should first figure out how to build relationships, get people to know, like, and trust me, and I'm generating leads and I'm closing loans. So that's why the first thing we talked about was investing in your professional development, i.e. business coaching and sales training.
Something that piqued my interest is the people that are going to be successful and see that they're like, there's people that don't have the money but find the money to invest. What do you have to say to people like this? Dustin, I hear what you're saying. I'm really inspired. I don't have the money to like invest like I need to and want to, but like I buy everything you're saying. As a side note, I'm not going to get a second job and I'm not going to valet cars, but I really want to become successful. What do I do if I can't find the money and I'm not going to take a second job?
I would remind you that actions speak the loudest. When there's a will, there's a way. Find a way to yes. John, it doesn't sound like you really want it. It sounds like you would like to have it if it was easy and convenient. But what I've found is that things that we want badly typically are never easy, convenient, and they're sure as hell things that scare us. So I don't know what to tell you. I didn't live that. I went $10,000 in credit card debt, John. True story. Like, I went 10 grand in credit card debt because I believed in me. I believed in what I was doing. I believed in my mentor. I also worked side jobs. I had a family to provide. I'm a freaking grown-ass adult. I'm a man, and I'm a provider. That's what I was going to do. I sacrificed. I deferred my student loans. I tried to sell my car. I cut off my cable before it was like the thing to do. Like, I did everything I could because I wanted it. My actions, you don't need to hear me because my actions spoke for themselves. And I'm assuming you teed me up because you knew that you're going to strike a nerve, but it's not even a nerve. I'm emphatically passionate because I lived it. And I've seen what the results are. And I am no better and no different than most people. I'm just not. I mean, if I'm anything different, is my drive may be a little bit higher than yours. My ability to embrace the suck may be greater than yours. My ability to continue going when others stop, maybe, I don't know, maybe that's my superpower. But in terms of like test scores and intelligence and upbringing, I'm pretty ordinary. Yeah. So there you go. That would probably answer that question. Probably find a good way for us to put a bow on this, because I think I touched on three. And the main things were, it was professional development. It was being willing to spend money on ads, advertising, leads, and it was also on the technologies. Like, those are the three big ones. And you are right. Like, you don't have to necessarily sign up for coaching. You can go to conferences. You don't necessarily have to pay money if you can get something for free, like read a book, like attend a free event, like subscribe to our YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. But you typically will find that the best things are the things that you pay for. And if you really want it, you'll find a way to do it. And more importantly, you won't just do it for 3 months, you'll do it for 12. And that goes for spending money on marketing and advertising. And that also goes with, purchasing certain technologies. Like it needs to become part of your routine, part of your habit, part of your process and your procedure. So anyhow, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, his name is John Coleman. My name is Dustin O, and you have just tuned into the Loan Officer Podcast. If you dig what we do and you want us to keep doing it, we will continue doing it as long as our audience grows. But our audience can only grow if you share us and if you tell others that they too should be going to YouTube and subscribing, going to TLOP online and signing up for our free newsletter, and then obviously hopping on either Apple or Spotify, giving us a 5-star review, and downloading all of our episodes. That is all the time we have for you today, but we do look forward to catching you on the next episode.